Welcome to the Ignited Recovery Podcast, a new way forward for anyone looking for answers but feeling left out. If you've been searching for empowerment, triumph, and purpose, you've found them right here. You won't hear the same solutions, and you're not going to have any excuses to fall back on, because Ignited Recovery allows heroes to rise and become their best selves. I'm Dr. Adi Jaffe, and I can't wait to be your guide on this journey. Are you ready to become an ignited hero? Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Ignited Recovery Secrets podcast. I'm Adi Jaffe, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. I went snowboarding with Leo and a couple of friends last weekend, and first of all, it was amazing and it was fun. You know, I used to live in upstate New York, and when we would go skiing, which is what I did back then, it would be freezing cold, like 15, 10, 5 degrees outside, you know, below zero with the wind chill. So I hated it. I despised it. I was born in Israel. Being that cold is not something I'm interested in. Moving out to the West Coast, you can literally go skiing and snowboarding with like a jacket and a tank top under it. It was amazing. Beautiful sun, 2-hour drive from the beach. Like, it's crazy, right? A 2-hour drive from the beach, and I'm snowboarding literally in almost like jeans and a t-shirt. Beautiful, beautiful day. I took Leo with me, and it was his first time snowboarding. If you follow me at all on social media, you know that Leo skates and does a lot of other things. He's very active, loves sports. First time snowboarding. He had tried skiing a couple of times, and he was really, really excited about snowboarding. And so we spent a whole day. We left the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, which he never wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Super excited. Got home at like 8 o'clock at night. So a very full day. And I realized after the day after we'd come back that the stages Leo went through in his excitement for going snowboarding are really, really similar to what I see a lot of times around the people I work with in recovery. And so I thought I would make that analogy for you and help connect the dots. You know, it's always interesting how you hear the same story in a few different ways and it connects one time when it didn't another. So there were 3 main stages to being there, right? First of all, before we even went on the trip, there was the preparation, the excitement. And that, unfortunately, I don't think happens to a lot of people in the recovery world. So most people kind of dread the notion of going into recovery. But what I've seen within Ignited Recovery, at least, is these following stages. The first one is massive excitement when you start having change. So for Leo, that was literally like the drive up. We're going snowboarding. Oh my God, it's amazing. I'm so excited. We're renting the ski and the snowboard and all that kind of stuff. And he's putting them on. He's super excited. We're walking up. He can barely eat because he's so excited. He's really, really stoked. Why? Because he's been waiting for this thing. He's wanted to have this change, learn how to snowboard for months at least. You know, and he's little. So for many of us struggling with addiction, this has been going on for years and we cannot wait to beat it. And we're so happy we're doing it. So that's the excitement before, like, just the moment you kind of sign up and get going. Beautiful to watch, so fun, so amazing. And then we get on the lift and he's excited. Like, all he wants to do is go and do the work. So I'm showing him how to put the snowboard on, how to latch in and snap into it, and kind of taking these little bunny hills. And he's like, okay, I'm learning and I'm doing he's taking a little step by step and putting the little pieces together of how to go from, learning how to skateboard on land to snowboard on snow. It's a very, very different experience. And he's falling and it's not that big a deal. And he's sweaty and we're kind of like having fun. We're laughing, et cetera. And he really wants to keep going and going and going. We stand in line for the lift and he has to learn how to, 1 foot in the snowboard. I don't know if you're a snowboarder, but he has to have 1 foot in the snowboard and like gradually move himself forward towards the lift. That's hard. The lift comes around. It's kind of a scary thing. You're on a snowboard. There's this constant set of chairs moving around. You got to make yourself be in front of the chairs. He's rushing, but he's really excited about every new thing that he learns how to do. And I see that for a lot of people. Sometimes we call it being on cloud 9. Sometimes we call it the honeymoon period. But in early recovery, a lot of people that I work with are so excited to do the work itself. Not even just that they signed up. Now they're excited about the next stage, actually doing the work. And I think this is a really important stage because in it, you have this massive motivation. Now, when you have that level of motivation, you also see substantial change, like big change, right? Leo went from never having snowboarded to putting his snowboard on, learning a little bit of movement, moving all the way up to the top of the hill, then, trying to get off the freaking lift, getting off the lift, falling down, getting back up, putting the thing back on. The number of tasks he had to do just to get to the top of the mountain was pretty massive, especially for somebody who's never snowboarded. And the whole time he's excited. I tell this to people in recovery all the time. Don't take for granted the excitement you have when you start trying something new to generate change. Sometimes we get jaded. This is the fifth thing I've ever tried. Nothing has ever succeeded before. Link back, connect back to the excitement that you feel at trying something new. And the reason is this: you're going to be bad at it. It's because it's something new. You've never tried this before. You're going to be bad at it. But the motivation you have to go through each one of the little incremental steps is massive for getting you ready for the next stage. If you sort of sit there in excitement about trying something new without taking action regularly on an ongoing basis, consistently, you're going to miss this opportunity, right? If Leo didn't really listen when I was teaching him how to strap in, that would be a problem when we got to the top. If Leo didn't get himself in place the right way when we were sitting on the lift, he would get his butt hit from the thing, fall forward, maybe never even go snowboarding at all. If Leo didn't practice the little tiny bunny hill runs that we did, then it would have made it really, really hard to get started down the hill, which we're going to cover in a second here. So we had to do all of that to be ready for what happened at the top of the hill. And we're going to talk about that is the next stage, the second stage here of actually doing something, right? So the first stage, preparation, super excited. For a lot of people, that's signing on. Second stage that we talked about here is actually starting to learn the little mini skills. And that's what we just finished talking about. Now we're at the top of the hill. Leo knows how to strap in, but now it's a little different because we're strapping in and we are going down the hill. Now, if you don't know anything about snowboarding, or skiing, you've got, green lanes, blue lanes, diamond, black diamond, or double black diamond. Normally, you want to start in the simplest way you can. So we kind of take that direction and I line him up the right way. We put the snowboard on and I kind of go to launch him. Now he's done a little bunny hill. He's strapped in, but he's never done this before. But he's skateboarded. So he does this thing you do in skateboarding, right? He goes back to what he knows how to do and he stands up straight and the snowboard is facing like just straight. I'm kind of straight down the hill and he's picking up speed and he's loving it because he loves going fast. And then he crashes. Now I want to break that down for us a little bit. He has the little mini skills because we did the early stage of preparation. When he was super motivated and excited, we taught him all the little stuff that he needed to know to move forward. In the context of addiction, that could be like literally where to go and who to talk to, what meeting. Like, we have about 15 meetings at Ignite. Which meetings do you go to? Who is your coach? Who's your accountability coach? Who can you connect with in groups? What modules are you on, or what lessons are you covering? And what is the next lesson after that? Really, really basic stuff, like how to operate the platform even. That can be the basic stuff that you have to do in the beginning. Now we're launching him. And we launched him. Now he needed to know how to do everything in order to get launched. But look what happened. The moment he got launched, what did he do? He went back to what he knows how to do, and that is how to skateboard. And in skateboarding, you just go straight down the hill. But you don't do that in snowboarding. So in skateboarding, you go straight down the hill, you pick up speed, maybe you go up a ramp, maybe you turn. In snowboarding, what that does is pick up massive speed. He doesn't know what to do. He pushes forward on the board, flips, hits his face, and crashes. Almost everybody in recovery crashes. Almost everybody in recovery has a moment where they thought they were going to do great for the rest of their lives, and then reality hits and something happens. Something at home, something in their head. They walk past an old bar. They hear about somebody who passed, or an ex-girlfriend calls them, whatever it is, something happens in the world. They hate their job and they flip out and they relapse. They slip up. That's the same as Leo hitting his face straight on the snow. That's a real moment of reckoning, because up until that moment, all he felt was excitement. And the question is, in that moment, is he going to rely back and fall back on that excitement and go, okay, I hit my face on the snow, I'm going to get back up and do it? Or is he going to say, oh, I don't know how to do this, I can't? And this is a moment of decision for a lot of people. It's a moment of great importance in the context of recovery. Odds are you're going to fall flat on your face at some point. Did you do the work during the excitement, the honeymoon period, to prepare yourself so that when you fall flat on your face, you know how to get up, you know how to strap back in, you know how to get back up on the board? Or are you going to use that as another reason to show you that you are powerless, hopeless, etc.? Leo got up. got up, dusted himself off. I'm right behind him. And he went back at it again. But he did the exact same thing again. He just went straight down the hill, picked up speed. It got really, really fast. He freaked out and he flipped back out again. This time I came back behind him and now he's a little jostled. It's a little hard to keep that excitement that he had before. And so I talked to him and I sit him down. I said, look, I kind of plopped down next to him. And I said, look, this isn't skateboarding. You're going straight down the hill. You don't know how to turn yet. Let's forget down the hill and let's start turning. I want you to learn how to lean back on your heels and sort of brake on a snowboard. And then when you can do that, we're going to turn a little forward and a little sideways, and a little forward and a little sideways. We're not going to get where you want to get yet. You're not going to be able to go fast down the hill and do any tricks or any of that kind of stuff. We got to learn the basics. And he looks at me and he's not really that excited about it because he's here to go fast and go up ramps and, flips and all this stuff. But he's got to learn the basics. Same exact thing happens in recovery. A lot of times people see their end goal. I want to quit. I want the relationship with my kids and my husband to be better. I want the people at work to trust me again. I want my mom to know I'm not going to lie or steal from her and keep relapsing and go to the hospital. They see the end goal. And because they see the end goal, they are unhappy with any phase along the way. But you got to go back to basics. In the context of recovery, that might be a little mindfulness practice, a breathing meditation, a gratitude journal, a CBT exercise, a mindset session, something that, or accountability call, something where somebody holds your hand and shows you something you don't know how to do, a skill, a tactic, a strategy, a technique that you've never employed before, but is really important. In the context of Leo snowboarding, he had to learn how to freaking brake on the snow. He's never done it before. But he's not really happy about it. He's not there to break. And now all that motivation from before comes in. And the question is again, are you going to show up to the basics? Are you going to show up to do what you need to do? So we spent the entire next 2 runs, which is, when you're going that slow, it's like 30, 40 minutes between going down, coming back up and going down, braking and moving and braking and moving. And I try to keep reminding him to not go fast, but he would forget every once in a while and go back to facing down the hill and speeding up, and then he would crash again. And if you've ever been snowboarding or skiing, it starts to hurt at some point. His shoulder's hurting, his butt's hurting because he keeps falling on his butt. His head now, he had a helmet on, but his head hurt because a couple of times he literally hit his head straight on the snow, and it's hard. And so I'd have to come in there and kind of give him pep talks and hold his hand and say, you're getting so much better. But he's not seeing it as better because he's thinking he's got to flip down hills and grab the board and do 360s off of ramps. And I'm saying you're doing so much better because you're learning how to control yourself. We spent 4 hours essentially doing this. And over 4 hours from when we started, before lunch even, he fell over and over. And he had to get up over and over. And I could see him just getting debilitatingly hopeless that he was never going to get where he wanted to go. But he was getting so much better and he wasn't even seeing it himself. So then we took a break. All 4 of us went to get lunch. He got to rest a little bit, got to cool off. And we got to talk. How are things going? Do you feel like you're doing a little bit better? I'm doing a little bit better from the beginning, but I want to. And he had goals. This is really important. It's important to have moments where you can pause and have a respite, have a break, and analyze and understand what's actually going on in your recovery, because you can't just put your nose down and grind all the time. If you do, you get tired, you get burnt out, and you want to quit. Motivation is limited to some extent, especially when it's not very clear to you that you are absolutely going to reach a target. After lunch, we went back out. He's still hurting, but now he wanted to go out on the ramps. And so we did that. We did it. And he was good enough to get to the ramps, but not good enough to jump them. And he just kept failing over and over and over and hurting himself more and more and more. And I was okay with him challenging himself, because here's the thing. It's through those challenges that he's going to have to learn how to brake better, how to move faster without, flipping over. And in recovery, it's the same thing. As you get more and more advanced in your ability to handle daily stressors and what happens in your work and your love life and you with your kids and, with your family, etc., challenges are going to come up, and nobody can protect you. Nobody can defend you from those challenges. Triggers will come, stressful events will happen. The job is internal. Can you look at the challenge ahead and make a decision? Am I good enough to take this, or do I have to turn off to the right and circumvent and go around it this time, and then gather up my strength so next time I can do better? The last phase of the day was the phase where Leo had to really take all the skills that he just learned and make decisions about what he was going to do at each of the last like hour and a half, 2 hours of runs. And I got to be honest with you, it was his first time there and he chose the wrong thing more often than not. When I say the wrong thing, I don't mean existentially it was the wrong thing. I just mean he tried to take ramps he wasn't ready for. And he fell flat on his butt, or worse, he made it almost all the way to the top and then tumbled down the other side of it. He got hurt. He cried a few times. It was hard. And it was hard to watch him do it because he has to learn the lesson. If I just tell him what he can and cannot do, he's going to resent me. He's going to hate me for not letting him go up the ramps. And I said, go ahead and do it. I think it's better if you learn how to just get the basics of snowboarding. And so the last phase was a really challenging one for him. In the context of recovery, I always talk about post the early motivation of the honeymoon and after the initial dip of hitting the challenges, this is what we call renormalization. It's a phase where you take all the skills you have and you start trying to implement them over and over and over. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And you have to constantly pivot and you have to constantly change and your goals shift. You may have thought you wanted to abstain. Now you realize, shit, I don't know if I'm ready to quit. Maybe I just cut down by half. You may have thought you wanted to fix your relationship, but realize it's not going to work and you have to end it. You may have thought that, you have to quit your job, but then realize you have to work things out with your boss. Whatever it is, you have to take the skills you've learned in recovery and apply them to everyday life. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where all the work you'd put up to now makes a difference. By the time we were done with skiing and snowboarding, Leo was really tired, dead tired, hurting. His neck was hurting, his butt was hurting, his head was hurting, he was crying. And we packed up and we went in the car. And it took about an hour or two. It's like a 2.5 hour drive. But by the time we got home, he was so happy and excited that he had gone through all three of those phases. Because he knew that he had done something great that day. He knew that within one day, he went from not knowing how to snowboard at all to knowing how to snowboard. He wasn't a good snowboarder. He was going to have to take many, many more times, many, many more efforts, many, many more falls to become as good as he wants to become. But Leo, who skateboards primarily, said, I don't even know if I like skateboarding more or snowboarding. I look up to that way of being able to understand where you are in the world, even when you're not perfect. And I want you to take this in. If you're feeling challenged right now, don't think that feeling challenged means that you are failing. You are somewhere in the middle of that learning how to snowboard experience. All you got to do is understand, what are you trying to do? And then what are you trying to achieve? And find people who know how to do it, learn from them as best you can, but realize it's going to take you time to practice these skills. And you're going to fall and it's going to hurt. And you can decide that you fell and it hurts because you're a failure and you don't deserve to do well in this. Or you can understand that falling flat on your ass, falling on your face is part of the equation. Buy the helmets, buy the pads, get the protective gear. By that, I mean the support, the family help, whatever it is that you need, right? The circumstantial support that can be around you. Get all of that and protect yourself to the best extent that you are able to, but you're going to fall and it's going to hurt and it's okay. In the end, my hope is you're going to reach a phase where you go, oh my God, I just went down a full run and I didn't fall once. What might that look like for your recovery? I just went to a friend's party and not only did I not drink, I wasn't even triggered. I just got a call from an ex and it didn't send me back to the bottle. I heard somebody talking about cheating and it didn't make me fall into a shame spiral myself, right? You know that you have hit the other side, not when you're in it. You know when you've passed it and it didn't have the impact on you that it's had before. And so we're already planning the next snowboarding trip for Leo. And he is so excited, even though his neck still hurts, his butt still hurts, and he remembers falling flat. Why? Because the mentality he has is this: if I keep doing what I've done, if I keep falling and getting back up, I will become the snowboarder I want. And in recovery, the same exact thing works. I promise you. If you keep trying things, seeing what works, and continue to do that more, seeing what doesn't work, letting that go, and trying on new things, you will still fall, but you will fall less and less frequently, and you'll get better at whatever your recovery goal is. If this sounds exciting to you, please save this for yourself, screenshot it, tag me and Ignite it, and let me know what exactly resonated from you. If you know somebody who needs to hear this because they're falling flat on their face and they may be thinking that it's time to quit, send them this right now. You may just save a life. And if you're somebody you know is struggling and wants this sort of help, and not the bullshit sort of help that is always kind of like, the stick approach where it's telling you, come on, get the fuck up. You need to be able to do better than this. If you want this sort of support, the one that really understands the entire journey you're going to go through, come join us at Ignited. You can get a 2-week free trial to what we do and really see how recovery can happen in a completely different way. As we say, a lot of people stop trying to get sober and start breaking free. Thank you so much for being here with me. Have a great, great weekend. I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Ignited Heroes Recovery Podcast. I really hope you found the information here useful and that we'll see you back here next week. And look, I want to make sure that this podcast is the most useful it can be for you, so please let me know by emailing info@ignited.com if there are any specific topics or questions you'd like to have addressed. As usual, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review and rating. Thanks, and see you next week.